One of the biggest issues for adolescent athletes is the challenge of early specialisation. So, this paper looks at training the specialised youth athlete, and essentially what we wanted to know, and what the question we wanted to answer was, is it possible to specialise and still remain healthy? So, what we came up with were three types of athletes that we can develop models for to help keep them involved in sport, and if they want to become an elite level athlete, help them on the way to becoming elite level athletes. So we identified three types of athletes that fit into different models. We have a load naive athlete, a load sensitive athlete, and a load tolerant athlete. Now, with a load naive athlete, this is an athlete who is skeletally immature, or hasn't been exposed to a lot of training before. If we progress them through this skeletal immaturity, it may be that there's occasions where they sustain injuries due to their relative naivety to load. Now, when you get exposed to an injury, or when you sustain an injury, your floor reduces straight away, your capacity reduces straight away, and what you're capable of doing during the sport also reduces. So you may have to temporarily reduce the floor and the ceiling of that athlete. Now, if you can manage that athlete through that injury period, you may be able to bring them back to a new ceiling. You identify an optimum load for that particular athlete. Now, with a load sensitive athlete, these are athletes who are either skeletally immature or have an intolerance to training load. If they sustain an injury or multiple injuries, they go through a rehab period. And in the rehab period, of course, they're going to be exposed to lower training loads where we reduce the floor, we reduce the ceiling. And it may be that this athlete, if they have persistent injuries, they may have a long-term reduction in the ceiling. Now, this is okay. It doesn't mean that they have to avoid sport altogether, but it may be that we direct them more towards recreational sport. It may be that they're just physically they're incapable of playing at an elite level, but it doesn't mean that they can't keep competing in sport. But it may just mean that they compete at a recreational level. The third type of athlete is our load tolerant athlete. Now, when each of these athletes get through skeletal immaturity, they go through puberty and growth and adolescence. If we can get them through those periods safely and without injury, they become skeletal immature, and that's when we're able to aim for a higher ceiling. This is a good example of our early specialised athlete, someone who we've managed to manage their training loads through skeletal immaturity, through the growth periods. They come out the other side, and we can aim for a high ceiling, the type of high ceiling or capacity that is required in order to compete at a really high level. So in terms of our question, is it possible to specialise, stay healthy and attain high performance levels? Well, there's things we need to keep in mind. We know that early specialisation may be associated with a greater risk of overuse injury, but it doesn't mean that that's going to be the case for all athletes. There will be some athletes that during pubertal growth that we need to adjust their training and monitor their training program. We may even have to reduce training loads during those periods in order to get them through that unstable growth period and come out the other side where we can load again. But equally, if we have athletes who are tolerating load, they're handling the load that we're giving them, they're skeletally immature and they want to specialise, we shouldn't be holding them back. We should be trying to encourage them to train safely, ensure that we manage their competition to training ratio, but it doesn't mean that they shouldn't aim to be high level athletes. Again though, we can accommodate those differences in training tolerances of our athletes by identifying these three models: the load naive, the load sensitive, and the low tolerant athlete. So thanks again for tuning in and listening to this fourth research vlog. The idea behind this is to make the research easy and make it accessible. If you liked this short clip, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you'd like a copy of the paper, feel free to visit us at gabbettperformance.com. Thanks for listening.